There we go. We're live here too.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
Rocco arrived like a bat out of hell. Just moments ago.
Yeah. Moments ago. Lots of traffic today.
Well, I hope you had a
winter in
great holiday.
Pittsburgh.
Hope everyone had a great holiday. We took a little time off, appropriately so.
Yeah, definitely.
So much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, you might as well start out with the most recent thing, the Hunter Biden pardon.
Yeah, you knew that was happening.
I didn't know.
You didn't think that was going to happen?
I believed him on face value when he said he wouldn't do it.
No, come on, man.
I did. I thought the fix was in another way. He wasn't going to get it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he voted for Trump. He was. I think at the end when he got removed, he's like, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm gonna do what I want.
You think?
Yeah, I do. He was gonna pardon. I mean, anybody who's gonna pardon their son. I mean, as a dad, I mean, think about that.
No,
From a father's perspective, I would do the same thing. You don't want your kid to ever be in a situation where they commit crime, right? But if you're the president, you have the ability to give him a second shot.
Is it deeper than that, though?
Meaning what?
Okay, so hear me out.
Okay.
Did Joe Biden also pardon his son in a direct attempt to protect himself and his brother and his other family members? I think his brother is going to get a pardon before this is done, and maybe other family members as well. If he does that, does that point more towards scandal?
Yeah, but here's the way I look at it. I think we just need to move past all the bullshit and just move the country forward. Like, okay, like we know shit's been corrupt for years. And if Trump can come in and bring in the right people and just fix the country and not worry about attacking the other side, this may be an opportunity in our country's history to stop the back and forth. Potentially, just because he brought in a team of people that used to all be Democrats.
So what you're saying is if that's the goal, then then this is just a price to pay for the goal.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I just think we gotta.
I think so too.
We gotta stop all this bullshit. Is what we have to do.
That's the big question. Is Trump going to do what the Democrats think he's going to do, and that's retribution through the Justice Department?
I don't think so. I don't think
if he doesn't, that really puts them on their heads.
Yeah, I don't know. But just in the interviews I've watched with people that he's surrounded himself with, I don't think retribution is what he wants. I think he wants to fix the system, to not let it happen to someone else again. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm an optimist. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is going to go for retribution, which I think is a bad move, and I think that is not the right thing to do.
And I think a lot of Americans were hoping when they voted for him that he wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good. I think I even saw in an interview that he said he would have considered pardoning Hunter Biden.
Right.
So again, if we can bridge the gap and get back to like, hey, let's work together to do what's best for the country as a whole.
See, I thought there might have been conversations between Biden and Trump during Trump's visit there. There might have been conversations.
There absolutely could have been. 100%. I'm just at the point right now where we just need to fix the problems in this country and move it forward. Like, let's get back to America being the greatest country in the world. Like a strong America, a strong economy, like people actually getting along, people getting to the point where, we can still joke around and people understand it's just joking. It's not meant to be hurtful or vindictive. It's just joking.
When you embrace it, we actually need to embrace comedy again.
Yeah, we do. We really do. We 100% do. And I think that's where, once we started attacking comedians, that's when I knew we lost our minds. Because it is comedy in and of itself. Like, they are doing it for fun, not to attack people.
Yeah, there's so many great opportunities ahead for the taking.
Yeah.
I just hope he takes them.
I think he will.
I think so too. Just
because of the interview I watched with Robert Kennedy when he talked about how he hated Trump and like was against everything he was about. And then when he spoke to Trump this next time, Trump was very vulnerable and admitted, he's like, yeah, in 2016, I didn't think we were going to win. He's like, then we won. We had to make all these appointments really fast. He's like, and I listened to all the wrong people. He's like, that's what he says. He's like, I listened to all the wrong people. He's like, this time I want to do what's right, and it's about the legacy I'm creating. It's not about appointing my friends or people that told me to appoint. I want to bring in the right people to create a legacy. When you have people that used to be Democrats coming in, like, that tells you everything. And if people don't want to see that, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
you
it's
just
really
want to look at what is wrong with Trump and not what's right about
of
Trump.
course. Well, it's really fascinating to unpack all of the vitriol, which there really doesn't seem to be much, but the vitriol now that he's won and now that he's making his decisions for nominations and so forth, to see the vitriol that comes, and it really, to this point, just seems like a continued defense of the deep state.
Well, yeah, people are shitting their pants.
It's really obvious.
Yeah,
it's really obvious. Not enough experience.
Yeah,
doesn't know what they're going to do. They're going to be a disruptor, and it's like all the things that need to happen.
That's what we want.
All the things that need to happen.
Right.
They're trying to convince the portion of the population that that's bad. That we need experienced status quo bureaucrats.
We need disruptors. We need disruptors, man. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Look at the crypto markets. Look what the crypto market's been doing since Trump said he's have a pro crypto administration. It's going through the fucking roof.
That's why you're smiling every day.
Well, I mean, made a couple right bets. Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Yes.
But I mean, I just think it's, whether you love him or hate him, he's the president now, and he's bringing the right. Same thing I said about Biden. Whether you love him or hate him, he was the president. Embrace it and hope he does best for the country. Don't hope for his failure, because if he fails, we all fail.
There's no question. And it's funny too, a little success in the economy can change the whole complexion of society. People are generally happier when their life's a little less stressful. They can make ends meet. They can feed their family. Their investments are going well. I mean, you don't really have that part of your life to be pissed off about.
Right.
If you're already an edgy person, this might moderate you a little bit, right?
100%.
I mean, you're going to have those people that are just pissed off because things just don't go their way. I get it. You'll have a small portion of those people.
We do.
But it's, if you make society better,
that's what you need to do.
You're going to have more positivity.
Again, because like I've said 1,000 times and you said 1,000 times, 80% of us all kind of want the same shit. It's the people on the outskirts that are the loudest. Now it's like the 80% we spoke in this election. It's like, no, we need something different. All of America spoke in this election. And if you don't want to believe it, then you have a bigger problem to deal with. It was definitely a directive from America.
Right.
Cut the shit.
Right. There's going to be so many, I think, really good books that are written now that the COVID president is out. Because I really don't think that Trump was the COVID president. He inherited it toward the end of his presidency. But this is the man who was installed to ride out the COVID circumstance and provide what they call a soft landing for our economy. But during this 4 years, a lot of really far wacky ideas were attempted to be mainstream. And I think that those events are going to lead to significant literature going forward. I can't wait to read the people that are on the inside of that, the people that are around those issues, and the rise and the quick failure, primarily because of this election. Well, it's going to be fascinating.
I think 10 years from now, the look back will be interesting to see what's going to happen. Because I think, look, if Trump does everything he says he's going to do and does it the right way and brings in the right people, I see the Republicans controlling the presidency for the next 12 years easily.
And they have a good shot at controlling the House of Congress too. If there is some kind of synergy and some positive, I mean, Bill Clinton had his second term in 96, and all you had to really do was look around. I mean, I think the Republicans knew they didn't stand a chance to take the presidency from him. I think they knew it. And as a tip to Bob Dole's service, they gave him the nomination, but there was never any real competition there. I mean, it was a foregone conclusion.
Right.
But the reason being is, if you look at that, he was a charismatic person.
Yeah.
He was a moderate Democrat for the most part. And he was governing in a period of, relative peace.
Yeah.
And prosperity, with the internet starting to rise.
Yeah.
And, it was the circumstances around him, and the country had a different feeling toward it, and they weren't ready to make changes. Here, what we just went through is exactly the opposite, 100% the opposite.
No, I agree. I think, I think it's going to be it's going to be an interesting first year. I think the first 9 to 12 months are going to tell us everything about the next 4 years. I really think it's going to be. I'm optimistic. I think it's going to be refreshing, because I'm already starting to feel the tension ease in the air. That makes sense. Like the people that were very tense over the election, they've kind of moved on. They're realizing, okay, like he's just going to do what he's going to do. And like, what is there to complain about anymore?
There could be a lot of surprised people 2-3 years into the presidency.
100%.
Especially if they have some success and some steam.
Yeah.
And everything else. And I think that, even if the houses of Congress are tight, left and right, it's going to be really hard to go against success.
Well, and the problem is, again, what I think, and again, I'm just speaking from my own perspective. So, this is how I view it. I think a lot of people that didn't like Trump don't really know why they don't like Trump, other than why the media told them not to like Trump. Like all the things they said he's against. Was he? Do you know? Point to what he did, what he said, or a policy he implemented that support your position.
Well, in modern times, there has never been a Republican president,
right,
as close to a moderate as this man is, because you really can't quantify his political philosophy. There are some very conservative things. There are some liberal things. There's a lot of moderate positions.
Yes,
more than in my lifetime. Any
as far as I remember in my lifetime as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to define him, and I think that's what drives a portion. Drives a portion primarily of the left out of their minds.
Yeah, and the other thing, again, like what he did so well this time was he listened to his son, Barron.
We need to
go on. He listened to the people that actually matter. His son knew exactly how to reach his demographic. Go on the podcasts. Go, just go and
go in the right ones.
Go on, and that's what he did. Like if you look back at all the interviews he did, I think people, because Rogan didn't like him at first. He wasn't going to vote for him necessarily. Then he's like he's a huge Trump supporter now.
There's no question.
When you look at it, like he did the right thing, and he wasn't trying to put on like that's the thing I liked about him. Him and Vance, when you watch them on the interviews, like they weren't putting on an act; they were just talking. You could even see Rogan trying to rein him in every once in a while and trying to slow him down and get him back on, because he wasn't trying to put out his agenda. He was just answering questions.
Well, he's fearless, and that's where
exactly. That's right.
And I think if there was a biggest differential in terms of presentation, not philosophy, but in presentation between who he ran against, one was fearless in their communication and their presence.
Yes,
the other one was cowardly. Because of whatever the reasons are, we don't even need to know. That's what was projected, was cowardice, and that's what I believe killed it more than the philosophy. It was the fact that when the person would sit and listen to these candidates, one got the feeling that one of them was very confident in their positions and ready to take charge and go do something. The other one was talking, word salad. He's just talking in circles. Not really defining things, and afraid to engage in certain environments.
Yes, and here's the thing: it wasn't. I don't believe what I believe makes a charismatic leader or a charismatic speaker is not confidence in their position; it's confidence in their ability to adjust positions. Like he wasn't. Like he has positions, but he's also confident enough in his intellect. In the way he can navigate conversations where anything thrown at him, he is confident in his ability and the way he thinks that he can deal with it. That to me makes a good leader,
That
whether you
comes with
like him or
business.
not.
That comes with successful business, running
Correct.
corporations, meeting a payroll.
Yeah.
And that's part of the
pressures
equation.
of
It's
the
an
pressures of
entrepreneurial,
business.
right?
Yes.
It's an entrepreneurial trait.
Yeah.
And he can think on his feet.
Yes.
It's been a while
Mhm.
since we had a president that
Yeah.
could think on their feet.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, most people don't think on their
Well,
feet.
I mean, when you look back at it, just our lifetime.
Yeah.
I think Bill Clinton could do it for
Yeah.
sure. I think Obama showed a little bit of
Yeah,
that, but he had a little teleprompter.
He did, but he was at least charismatic.
He projected that.
Yeah, and I think he
But
could. I think he could build
thinking
things
on their feet and be able to and be fearless.
Yes.
With questioning and big press conferences, Clinton was a master at that.
Yeah.
Reagan was great at that. We just haven't had that in a while. We've had a very scripted presentation.
But you're right that it does. A big part of that comes from business.
No question.
When you are up against having to meet payroll or wondering where the next dollar's coming in, like you develop that fearless mentality because you have this unwavering belief in yourself that even though I don't know where the next dollar is coming from, I will find it.
Yeah, there's I think public service and public office and entrepreneurship and business ownership, they both have gravity.
Yes.
It's just a different kind of gravity.
100%.
And you would think outside looking in that the talents of the business person, especially the successful business person, would be absolutely fantastic in the public sector. It should be. Oftentimes it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. And because I think there's a lot of different pieces to that, right? The public sector can just be a machine, right? And they want you to just play within this bounds of the system. Most entrepreneurs, myself included, we don't like rules. We don't like boundaries. We're like, no, we're going to test them. That's what makes an entrepreneur an entrepreneur.
Most great entrepreneurs don't
have to.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. Like I can't remember who I was talking to last week. And I said, everybody in their life, to really understand who you are, you should, one, work in the service industry, like be a server or waiter, waitress, bartender, and try to run a business where you have to be concerned about paying other people first. That shows you what you're made of.
That's a great point. That's
it really does.
Point.
Being a solo entrepreneur is one thing, right? But when you now take on the burden of being responsible for other people and their families before you, that's a different level.
Yes,
a totally different level.
It made me very uncomfortable, and that's why I didn't take my business.
I'm uncomfortable every fucking day.
I stayed as a lifestyle business as opposed to growing something larger, because I think one of the fears I had was when I finally had an employee or two helping me there, I knew that they always had to get paid first, and I knew that hook or crook, they were really looking and leaning on me, and I just, it's just how I'm made up as a person. I didn't want that complexity. You get to find out early as a business person where you want to be. Where's your space? Where's your space? Where are you going to be?
I agree.
And for me, it was the lifestyle business was more attractive, although extremely limited in where you can take it.
See, I was the opposite. Like I thought I wanted a lifestyle business when I left corporate America, and then I realized that it was too confining for me. Like I had to.
I think you formed that opinion. I think you made that change right around the time I met you in 19.
Probably, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we had this conversation. I think the first time we met was like, you said, I'm having that kind of an epiphany. I think I want to grow an organization.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what it was. That's when I incorporated the firm finally and said, okay, I'm going to see what I can do and build this. It was July 1st of 19 is when I incorporated the firm. So I'm going to see where this can go. It's not a solo entrepreneur anymore. It's and it was, and I did it because I needed the fear. Like I knew. I was at that point where I had left about a year before, right? So it was a year and like 3 months that I had left corporate America, and it was scary. Like I didn't know where I was going, but it's like I knew I needed to commit to the scariest situation I could to push myself. Like I know what makes me run. I know what makes me operate. In that moment when I incorporated and put it out and said, I'm going to create an organization, it's like I can't go back on this now. Like I put it out there, like I can't back down. To myself, like I had to prove it to myself that I could do it. Did I have any idea what I was doing? No, but I just kept taking the next step, and that's why I say, like people, like I worked in the service industry for a couple summers, and like that's definitely you learn how to deal with people. That's a skill everybody should learn. but actually like running a business where you now have the responsibility. Like it's one when you have kids, right? You have a like life or death for them, right? I would step in front of a bullet for any one of my children,
Of course.
right? Without question,
Of
wouldn't even
course.
think twice about it. That's a parenting responsibility. But now understand that now you have people that are looking to you, one, to solve the problem potentially, to figure out what's the next move, and to make sure they get paid twice a month.
Right.
You know, that's all going while you're also trying to run the business, grow the business, work in the business, work on the business. It is by far, I can't remember who I was talking to last week. We had this conversation. It is the hardest thing I've ever done. I've said that multiple times, but this year has made me realize like how absolutely hard it is. And like if you're not prepared for it, it will knock you down and keep you down. It really will.
Yeah, I mean,
But it shows you what you're made of.
There's so much to what you just said that goes to that equation.
Yeah.
It's mental fitness, it's physical fitness,
Yeah.
it's intellectual fitness, it's emotional fitness, it's the
Yeah.
whole enchilada.
And I didn't realize how much like mental fitness I always knew, emotional fitness I learned a lot more this year about that, but physical fitness I didn't realize like how important that is in running a business. I've always been into fitness, right? But you know, you kind of let yourself go a little bit like during and I did, and it's like but then once you really start focusing on that discipline again, that's what I really did this year. Like my operating tempo increased like exponentially.
Of course.
Just because I was focused on something else, a discipline that made me feel physically better.
Correct.
Because if I didn't have that this year, because I literally just looked back, I've been working with that fitness coach all year, and we kind of finished the first year, we're going to renew again. But he sent me, I had like a before and after from beginning of the year into this year. And like, you don't see it every day. But when I put the two pictures up, it's like a totally different person. And I realized like how much work I had to put in to get there.
No question.
But it didn't feel like work because it was that grounding discipline I had that everything was on top of. Had I not had that, I would have probably fell apart this year. Completely fell apart.
Yeah, and it really does start nutrition and physical strength is like it's really a thing. And if you're paying attention, I think anyone will admit that as they get older and still want to have an active life, they start to understand the importance of those two components,
100%.
Nutrition and physical strength. I mean, regardless of the gender, regardless of the age, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you don't have those two working for you, hopefully in synergy with each other, but at least working for you in some capacity, it affects everything else.
It does. If you don't have your health, what else you have? Like I'm realizing that now. Like I'm 47 this year, and I think I'm past the halfway point, right? I mean, if life expectancy in the U.S. is 75 to 80, roughly
about 80 now.
80, so I'm way past the halfway point.
79.
And like the only thing you have is your health.
Yeah,
you can pull everything else away.
Yeah, in the end, I mean, and that's very apparent. I think everybody gets an epiphany and they realize that. But I think it happens at different points for everybody. Some people don't realize that till they're 80, 90 years old, if they live that long. Yeah, and some people realize it early. And I got it a couple of years ago. I just figured it out that if I want to live, life just seems a little esoteric, but it seems so interesting, and I've done so little as opposed to what interests me. If I'm going to even attempt some of these things, I have to be able to feel the way I do now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now.
Yeah.
And I was on a path where that wasn't possible. So I had to make changes. And I think I'm one of hopefully millions of people encountering that and fixing it.
Yeah.
No,
I think everybody needs to do that hard look and figure out like what, and I even said, like, this past year I kind of took it seriously. I'm now going into next year. Okay. Like, what can I fine tune more? Maybe it's mobility next year,
right?
Like being more flexible, being more functional. Because I was just focused on just getting in really good shape, like just getting my body to where it used to be, and I felt good, like strong. I'm starting to get rid of the injuries. And I was like, okay, next year, like, what is it? Like, how do I fine tune it even more? Because it truly does. I feel like the better shape I'm in, the more physical activity I do, the better and the more efficiently I perform in my career, in my profession.
Let me ask you a question. I made an observation of that with you this year in that there were times this year where you had ideas on doing certain things, but you had a nagging injury.
Yeah.
or he had something going on. And the difference I saw this last 12 months as opposed to the Rocco I prior knew, you would have pushed through. You would have let your emotional side dominate that injury to the point where you might have pushed through it.
Yeah.
But you might not have. And it may have affected other parts of your life. You seemed like this year you made an intellectual decision based upon where you are in life.
100%. That is
right?
Yeah, well, exactly right. Because with the Ironman, the half Ironman, the injury I had with my shoulder, it's like, okay, I could do this to prove myself I can do it. But I said, do I want to compete in these consistently? No. I said, what I want to do is be able to continue working out and getting in good shape so I can function better in my profession.
Correct.
I said, so I literally did.
It was visible.
I weighed the difference. I said, okay, I can do it because I committed to it, spent this money. I said, but there's a huge risk of injury that could impact the next 12 months of my life.
Those of us around you saw that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that because it was a very intellectual, because before I'd be like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. Right. I'm going to push through. And then if I get hurt, I'll just man up and push through it.
But like you said before, with every year of growth, you find yourself in a different kind of position.
100%. Yes.
As to who, depending on you, to the nature in which you're being dependent upon, and the whole thing. So
even looking back, like as we're getting ready for next year in the firm and like putting all these processes in place, like I just read a book last week called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, really good book. And it's talking about like, okay, like how do I get more efficient? So what I've been doing over the past week, I'm going to do it for the rest of this week into next week. Almost every minute of my day in the office, I write down what's happening. So I'm starting to identify like how many times people are coming in and interrupting me.
It's laborious.
It is, but what it does is I'll be able to look at like just looking back at the past like last couple of days last week and then the first 2 this week. I'm like, I already see what's happening. And it's really fine tuning those types of things. Like, okay, I'm getting that like granular and looking at, okay, well, if I have a meeting at 1:00 and someone comes into my office at 12:45 and I'm working on something, they don't ask me if I can, they just come in and start talking. Even though that conversation may take 4 minutes, I've lost 15. So I'm learning like where my time is and like, how do we get like this book gave me some really good ideas. Like another one was like, something I didn't even realize it's called the definition of done. It's like when you give someone a project or when the firm has a project, what is the definition of done? Like, when do you know it's complete? And I'm like, fuck, never really thought about it. You just think people know when it's done. But it's like giving people clear directive as this is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. This is the tasks that are checked off a list. That's when it's done. I'm like, like just trying to get really efficient because now 12 months ago, I wouldn't even have thought about that. I would just put my head down and just work through it all. Let people come and interrupt me, like just work through things. Just, I'll just find the time somewhere else. But now I'm like, okay, like I have a life. I want to be able to live long and focus on fitness. So I'm like, okay, where are these gaps in my day? Why am I working 12, 14 hours a day? When I'm realizing probably 2 hours of that are people just coming in and interrupting me, not because I want them to, right? I'm there to help, I'm there to serve them. But I've realized too, like in a lot of, and I hate to be generational, but I look at it like I was even saying this with Gabe, right? Gabe's a different generation. Like when he has something on his mind, he wants to get it off of his mind instantly. Instead of, and I told him like 2 weeks ago, I said, dude, unless the building's burning down, like schedule a meeting with me once a week. Let's go through all this shit you have, all these questions you have. Because he'll just come, because I'm his dad, right? So he'll come in the office over and over again. I'm like, dude, like I'm working on stuff. But it's like, unless the office is burning down, can this wait?
Well, it comes back to just managing your accessibility.
But I don't want to be inaccessible.
No, but you need to manage it.
That's what I'm learning. Yes,
you're not inaccessible. You just have to manage your availability. And it's a tough one. And when you were mentioning that book by Martell, it got me to think the original person that introduced me to that kind of real micro managed time management was a book I read on Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin was obsessive in micro analyzing every little thing, and he wrote everything to a nuance, which is way beyond my patience level. But that's what he did, and he micro examined every aspect of his life. But he became very, very efficient. And obviously very productive.
Right, and that's what I'm doing. Like looking at, I'm like, okay, like it takes me 4 minutes to make a cup of coffee in the morning when I come to the office, like, which is fine. Like I'm going to do, but I just want to know where my time is going. If I get in there, 7 a.m. and I'm in the office till 5 or 6, That's 10 to 11 hours I'm in the office. Like, where is my time going? And where are these gaps coming up?
Totally get it.
And it's interesting when you actually like, it sucks writing it down. Like, whoa, this is the worst. Like writing down everything that's happening, but it's also giving me a very clear picture as to what's happening.
Certainly. Well, data is everything.
It is. It really is.
Whether it's personal data, business data, social data.
It is.
I mean, and ignore it at your own detriment.
Yeah. And that's why I did this. That's what I did at the beginning of the year. And I think that's why, like, how I've changed over the year by just focusing on, and I think that's like focusing on health and fitness, because the coach I work with, he's awesome. He's very data driven, right? So like every week I log my workouts. That's what I mean. So he can see, like, am I progressing? Are my weights going up? Is the scale weight going down? Is it staying the same? Like, he looks at like my diet, like, if my weight went up 1 week, what happened? Like, what did I eat differently?
Correct.
And it's just, I'm like, oh, like this data, like we use this data all year to make this huge improvement in myself. Like, I got to start looking at data for my actual time I'm spending doing shit. Like, how do I get more productive next year?
No question.
And it's just crazy, like, how you realize the older you get, like, what's really important, the data that really matters.
It was the measuring stick, right?
Yeah.
And it's like we run so many other aspects of our life based upon measurements.
Yeah.
We don't think about it all damn day.
Yeah.
But some of the most important things in our life, we don't measure at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, there's people that I know that don't look at their bank account for weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how do you not know? Like, how do you not pay attention to that?
Well, the biggest one, I think, is the caloric intake of everyone.
Yeah.
Are you paying attention to the numerical amount of calories?
Right.
Some of the other metrics involved.
Yeah.
But just take calories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does anyone, not anyone, but does the bulk of America pay attention to the caloric number they consume every day? Do they even have a ballpark? And the answer is no. The answer is absolutely, positively no.
100% not.
No.
Unless you're into health and fitness, you're not tracking that at all.
And that's the number one metric when you're thinking about nutrition in terms of and how that relates to your weight.
Yeah. I love seeing that image on online where they talk about peanut butter. It's like, here's what people think a serving of peanut butter is. Here's what an actual serving of it is. And it's like the big one is what I normally think
that's
of.
America.
Yeah, but it's true. Like because I'll weigh out peanut butter by grams,
course,
right?
Of course.
And like 32 grams is a serving, like 2 tablespoons. It's not that much.
No.
Like if I'm taking a spoon of peanut butter out of the jar, it's probably 3 servings.
Exactly.
Which is 600 calories. Just in a big spoonful of peanut
almond
butter.
Same thing. I eat almond butter religiously. It's a huge staple in my diet, but I'm guilty. It's like just diving in with a big massive spoon and putting that on 2 pieces of Ezekiel bread.
Yeah.
But then that's great. I mean, it's nutritious, but I mean, it's unnecessary calories.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
I'm not paying attention.
And if you just pay attention to for a little bit, you'll start to be able to estimate. Like I'm not religious. Like I track stuff on my fitness, but I'm not religious about it because I know. Like I typically, when I make meals for the office, it's typically 8 ounces of meat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm bringing with me, and maybe vegetables and a serving of rice. So I know if I'm eating that twice a day, plus my breakfast, and then a snack, I know by the end of the night, before I eat like dinner after I work out, I've had about 1,600 calories. So I know I got about 600 more I can eat after I work out at night, which is plenty.
It's just math.
It's math. It's pure math. But I also don't want to go off the deep end. Like I can feel it.
Because it's just math, though. And if you spell it out that way, it just seems so rudimentary and simple. Yet we don't do it.
Because it takes work. It takes thought.
It really shouldn't, though.
Right.
It's just math. So because the answers are it's finite. It's very finite.
Well, and now there's
either is or it isn't.
Right. And now there's an app. I think it's called Cow AI that you take a picture of your food and AI will figure out how many calories are in it.
That's nuts.
I don't know how accurate it is, but it's pretty close.
Something.
But it literally takes an image and uses AI to determine how many calories, a rough estimate. Just start with that. Mm-hmm. I realized that. And the other thing I did this year, I kind of followed your lead. I said, just increase my steps. Mm-hmm. Like I stopped on like hard ass cardio in the morning. I'll just like walk for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. Then during the day, I'll like walk on my treadmill in my office. Then at night, like I'll like in between my sets, typically when I'm working out, I try and get like, I was getting to 10,000. Now I said, okay, starting in December, I want to get my average to 11,000 a day. Mm-hmm. And then slowly increase. But I'd like to get to, by the mid next year, have 15,000 steps. That's my goal. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting, like how the results you get from just doing that, just walking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, my goal used to be 9,000, then 10, then 11, and I'm at 15 now. And I just about every day.
Yeah.
Get it? Or, I'll go all the way to 20 sometimes. But
Wow.
that is, and it's all spread out throughout the day.
Yeah.
Big chunks here and there.
Yeah.
But just that one thing.
Yeah. That's it. It's simple. It's simple. One thing.
I mean, but if I didn't do any of that,
yeah,
my whole body makeup, everything would be completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like people,
it's crazy.
People try and do too much at once instead of habit stacking. Just pick one thing. Just start like you did. You started walking, right? And you're like, okay, now I'm gonna stop eating bread and pasta. And then slowly the results just snowball.
I just started examining what I was eating, and finding, okay, well, this also tastes good, but it's like 1/3 the caloric intake.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it nutritional? Oh, this isn't, but this is.
Yeah.
And it's just finding what works.
Exactly. It's exactly right.
And then the other thing too, which I don't know if you and I ever went down this road, but the biggest awakening for me was that just my personal belief, I believe the human experience has been conditioned over the years to overly enjoy the idea of food consumption. Meaning that we've put so much emotional attachment to the satiation of the process of eating. So what I tried to do was to see if I could desensitize myself to a degree.
Okay.
And really truly eat to live.
Yeah.
As opposed to live to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just make it just a part of my day, but don't put too much emphasis on enjoying it or lusting toward it or whatever. And invariably, when I try to desensitize myself to the idea of eating and what it actually meant to me, now it's just a part of my day.
Yeah.
And if something tastes great, I get it. I like it.
Yeah.
But I don't get lost in it.
No.
I think that's just, people look at me like I'm crazy because I just don't care about it. You know what I mean?
Most people make eating an event.
Yes.
Like in a gathering.
Great way of putting it.
It's an event, right? Instead of
I don't think it's bad. I just don't know if it's always healthy.
I love going and getting sushi. Like that's an event to me. One, I just like to go out and get it. Two, I love sushi. So there are so I try and find the balance, right? Like I know during the week, and usually like during the day on the weekends, I'm very disciplined. Eat kind of the same breakfast. 2 meals during the day. So I'm pretty good. So I give myself that leeway. I believe the 80-20 rule. If I'm good 80% of the time, and I'm working out consistently and doing all the other shit, that 20% is not going to have any impact on me. And so I do like to eat. And to me, I'm Italian, so I associate eating with gathering, like memories and talking, and there is an emotional attachment to it. However, during the week when I'm eating, just plain ground beef with hot sauce and vegetables, there's no emotion. It's just fuel to get through the next 3 hours. But it's like, hey, if we're getting together and going out and going out with friends and family and going out and getting sushi or steak, like there's an event to it. There's a feeling you get with it. I still try to make good choices. Like I'm not going to go, from eating pretty clean to, going to a sushi restaurant and getting every fried roll there is. Like I still eat pretty clean.
Right.
But there's also the emotional event to it, which I enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. I just discovered through that I really didn't like to eat. I just discovered that it's I don't know if it's all the chewing. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I mean, if I'm eating something that's tasty, I will definitely tell you it really tastes great.
What's your one indulgence? If you had an indulgence, what would it be? Truly.
Nothing fancy.
Like your last meal. Like this is your last meal. Like what are you gonna have?
Probably pizza.
Pizza? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like I like lobster and steak and all that. I like it, but I can absolutely do without it. If tomorrow all the animals were wiped off the face here, I'd be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I would, because I don't lust after any particular food.
No, I don't lust.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't lust after. It's just like I like sushi. I also love Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I can go to the extremes, right? But I also like to eat healthy. I like how I feel when I eat healthy.
Yeah.
And like going out and getting like a healthy meal.
What's your vice?
My vice? I mean, even though sushi's healthy, like I would eat it every single day.
Yeah, but too much of anything, right?
I would eat it every single day. Like truly, if someone asked me, like, want to get sushi? Yep. I would. There's not a time I would be like, I'm tired of it.
I think ice cream is my problem.
See, that's not me. Like I'm not a sweet person. The sweetest thing for me is peanut butter.
Yeah.
Like, I would destroy that.
Particularly like candy and things like that either. But there's something about ice cream to me that's
See, my thing is,
It's all right.
Here's how I know myself. Like I stopped doing it recently, but when I'd have like a stressful day and I'd like try and be good all day, and then you just like your brain is just like fuck it.
Yeah,
I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and I'd literally get a protein bar and just grab a spoonful of peanut butter, slap it all over it, and then just grab milk out of the fridge and just eat the protein bar with peanut butter all over it and just chug milk.
Yeah.
Like to me, that was my indulgence.
Yeah. I get it.
It was sweet enough, but I felt like I was getting some nutrition because it was a protein bar. You know, I'm probably eating 1,000 calories in the middle of the night.
Well, it's
I'm like, why did I give you 5 pounds overnight?
It's that carb lust at that moment. Yeah.
I don't even think it's, I think I lust after fatty, salty foods, not even carbs. I don't really crave like potato chips.
Yeah, the longer you're away from it, if you get real restrictive in there, you will eventually almost wipe out your craving for any carbs.
Yeah.
I mean, the longer you go.
Yes. If someone put a bag of like my favorite potato chips in front of me or a jar of peanut butter, I'm gonna pick the peanut butter every single time.
You don't like almond butter?
Oh, almond
so
butter
much
too,
better
yeah.
for you.
I mean, almond butter, peanut butter, cashew butter.
Do you eat peanut butter that has sugar in it?
No, I eat natural. Everything's natural and organic.
Yeah, I that's what I do with almond butter too.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I never have to worry about anyone in my family ever taking my stuff because no one wants to eat that stuff. It's just
Have you
so
tried cashew
bland.
butter?
Yeah,
I like that. I like that better than almond butter.
I like that and macadamia nuts. They make butter out of macadamia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's probably really good. I'm sure it's
really
$1 billion.
It's really good though. Yeah, but I don't like salty things.
Okay.
Although I actually need more salt in my diet all the time. My doctor's telling me
Take
I need,
electrolyte supplements.
Yeah. I need to do that.
I take it every morning, and it's helped me tremendously.
I need to do that. We'll talk off camera.
Definitely.
But I don't like salty food, so I just feel I don't know. I don't have the taste for it. I've never salted food, but a lot of what I eat is very bland, and I'm okay with it because I've acclimated to it.
Yeah.
Like the average person would try to eat that. And
Yeah.
oh my god! Well, it's like it's like eating grilled chicken and rice when you're really when you're trying to cut, for a weightlifting event.
You just get used to it.
You get used to it. It becomes very tasty when you have nothing. When you're
throw a little mustard on it, you're good.
Hot sauce.
Yeah, I mean I typically use like either hot sauce, like really really low calorie sauces. Like I don't put salt on my food when I cook it. Very rarely. Maybe steak I will. Like I'll sprinkle salt in it, but like I don't use a ton of salt because I drink a salt supplement every day, like an electrolyte and sodium supplement.
Yeah, I got to talk to you about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We're all over the place here. No, it's good. but how we got on this subject, quite frankly, was because of discipline and the amount of discipline required in entrepreneurship. And again, that's one of the attributes that separates entrepreneurs from folks that just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But you would think that those, and I think most entrepreneurs consider themselves high achievers, whether they actually are or not, will be in the results of what they do.
Yep. Absolutely right.
But you would think that entrepreneurial mindset would be really great for public service, and doesn't always work out.
Well, because I think most entrepreneurs consider disruptors, right? So public service is like, this is our system. You're coming into it. This is what you do. This is how we preserve power. This is how we make money. Entrepreneurs come in like they want to just fuck shit up. They're disrupting the system. So that's why I think it's a hard time.
Yeah, because their money equation is done differently than the public sector.
Correct. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. The money equation is completely different. Public sector, I'm going to do my service. I'm going to make deals in the background. I'm going to get paid to support certain things. Entrepreneurs want to create things. Right? They want to fix problems and create things. Politicians want to create problems and not fix things. That's how they stay in power. Yeah,
politicians create the illusion of value so they can get paid.
Correct. That's exactly right.
Entrepreneur, you can't create an illusion of value either. Either your service or your product is either valuable and thus warrants people buying it, or it is not and they don't buy it.
Yeah. And again, a lot of people that think they're entrepreneurs actually aren't. I've learned that a lot over the past
Instagram's
years.
got them all.
but even talking to people, because I always say there are people that, because my thing, I truly believe in entrepreneur. If there's one underlying tenet that an entrepreneur has, it's one of my favorite quotes. If you want it, you find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Because there's been nothing that I've said that I wanted that I didn't find a way to do.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out how to get higher levels of it. I think a lot of people say they're entrepreneurs, but then they're not where they want to be because they don't really want it that bad.
Right.
They're not willing to make the sacrifices because it is a sacrifice. It truly is.
Correct. And that can be, and again, there's nothing right or wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right. But that is a very potentially a very humbling concept.
Yeah.
If you work it out right. Like
Yeah.
I've brought myself to conclusions many times that, I always said I wanted to do something. Nah, I really didn't.
Yeah,
Because
no,
my
that's right.
actions didn't bear that out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I just didn't choose to spend quality time pursuing that.
Yeah, that's okay. Like everybody doesn't have
Absolutely.
to be like I think people get so caught up in like having to be a certain way. It's like, no, just be what you're good at. Like that's where I think 'cause I've watched a lot of younger people and just people online. I've listened to talks and I've even talked to, friends of mine. I think people get caught up and they think they have to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And
no question.
And instead of just understanding what they're really good at and just focus on that, and the rest of the shit, who cares? Like you don't have. I had to learn that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just shit I'm not good at.
Self-assessment, man.
Yeah, like there's stuff I'm just not good at. I should be doing, but I think I should be doing everything because I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm like, well, let me look at what I shouldn't be doing now.
Well, a very curious mind will often send you down pathways that don't serve you.
Yes, 1,000%. Yes, correct.
There's a phrase that's something about a very curious mind, unbridled, will lead you to danger. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think curiosity is a great thing. Curiosity controlled. Mm-hmm. Like you have to control it somewhat. Because I can go down rabbit holes all fucking day long. It all
comes down to discipline. Every single thing, every concept, the effectiveness of every concept has an element of discipline.
I mean, that's why, like,
right?
100%. I mean, Jocko Willink's book, Discipline Equals Freedom. That is probably one of the simplest yet truest statements. The more disciplined you are, and people, it's counterintuitive, right? Because the more disciplined you are, the more freedom you have. Like, if you think about it,
yeah.
Because when you're disciplined, you're deciding the outcomes. When you're not disciplined, the world decides the outcome.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And people don't get that.
Yeah, that's it goes back to that personal philosophy phrase.
Yeah.
If you don't create your own personal philosophy, you'll be left to adopt someone else's.
Exactly.
What do they have in store for you?
100%.
Not much.
100%. Dude. That's exactly right. Absolutely. People just need to understand, like, discipline is truly, if coming into 2025, if people are going to focus on one thing this year, just focus on increasing and being more disciplined.
Do you think discipline is such a difficult word for people to gather? Forget the physical activity of discipline, but a difficult word to grab a hold of and then utilize, because for whatever reason, our culture takes that word and bastardizes it and attaches an element of pain and uncomfortableness and negativity toward it.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Because human nature is to seek comfort. Think about that. We've talked about this a million times, right? By humans, we crave comfort. So discipline's like a bad word to people, where I think people that are trying to push themselves, they seek discomfort. That's where growth happens, right? You can't grow sitting on a couch.
No.
You got to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Do things you're not skilled at. Do things you're uncomfortable doing. That's how you get better.
Well, I would think anyone that, I think everybody has things they dig. And if you can entrench yourself in something that you dig, the idea of incorporating discipline into that should be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You would think, whatever that thing is.
We're too distracted as a society, I think.
Are people not asking themselves the question of, like, what do I really dig? What am I good at? What could I be good at? Or what interests me?
Think about it, like, what if people are walking around with their phones in their hand 90% of the day, they're constantly distracted. They may know exactly what they want to do and know what they're in love with, but they're being distracted by other things. The phone is constantly vibrating. There's new notifications. So it's like, when do you have, to find something you dig and be disciplined at, it takes time. Like, you just have to put the time in, right? An hour a day for,
certainly
10,000 days, like, to be an expert at anything. People just don't want to put in the time. We have a very short attention span.
Right.
And we want instant gratification, instant results.
So maybe the concept of the distraction, that idea of distraction, is the real problem with technology.
Oh, technology is a huge distraction.
Like the distraction of or the interruption or the disruption of our thinking.
Yeah, the disruption of our brain. Like, I find myself, if I'm on my phone late, like, I don't sleep as well.
Yeah.
The blue light, like, truly, it is an addictive distraction. You have to train yourself to get away from it. You know, but most people don't want to do that.
You gotta leave your phone out of the bed. You gotta get it on the end table. You gotta leave it away.
Yeah, no, I agree. Or put it in sleep mode where it doesn't. There's no light. There's no notifications.
Yeah,
you know, it's just people are very distracted these days.
Yeah, it's like it's just so hard for me to grasp like what life is today. And it was only like 15, 17 years ago the iPhone 1 came out.
2007 it came out.
Yeah, so
it's less. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, 18 years.
Yeah,
so
17 years.
I'm saying like before that we had cell phones in our pocket or on our waist.
Yeah,
and I carried a BlackBerry, but it wasn't something you stared at. You were just looking at lines of email.
That's exactly right.
Yep. It was just a different functionality, right?
Yeah.
The thing back then you worried about was, those people that walk around with the phone to their ear. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Now it's like this all day.
Right. Yeah. Which is way more dangerous than
100%.
Walking around like this.
Yep. That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. It's a different world these days, man. But I'm optimistic for the future. I am.
Yeah, I am too. I think we're entering I hope we're entering a new
renaissance period, maybe.
Yeah, a revival.
I hope so. I do. I'm optimistic.
Wouldn't it be something like such a polarizing person comes and like helps us launch into this revival that maybe lasts like 20, 25 years that,
fantastic.
Try to get some order to society and business and cohesion and the rest of it, right?
That'd be fantastic.
Especially after, especially after, we've gone through that pandemic nonsense.
100%.
Maybe this is the recovery. Maybe we haven't seen any recovery in the pandemic yet. Maybe this is what's coming.
I hope so, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I hope so.
All right, man.
Cool.
Until next week.
Yeah.
We'll see you. And we will definitely be on before Christmas.
Yeah, we will.
Promise.
Yes, promise. Yes.
We're out.